With some of the anime series that came out during the summer season now practically over, it is time to move on to the ones that is coming out in the fall season. And let me just say, the fall season will not disappoint as it's also stacked with good anime series, with these being the top ones that you shouldn't miss. This is Animanko 9000, a channel where we talk about content related to anime, manga, and other types of media. And in this video, I'll be going over the top upcoming anime series that will premiere in fall 2024. Let's get started. But before we actually go over the list, I would like to give an honorary mention of one anime series that will show up in 2025. Just last year, in Anime Expo 2023, we got a trailer regarding about a series called To Be Hero X. From that trailer, we see a character fighting against a swarm of nameless mob villains as the animation switches between 2D and 3D style. The setting appears similar to My Hero Academia, One Punch Man, and other superhero anime genre shows we know of, as we find out that the character happens to be a hero who ranked first, and it also teases other 9 other characters who are also heroes. No other information is given about this series until the latest trailer that dropped early this week. And in that trailer, we got a full introduction of the 10 hero characters who will appear in that series, giving us a glimpse of their background of who they are, what their goals are, and what type of hero they are. The plot, however, still remains unclear. For all we know, these characters might not interact with each other or meet up in the same room, as it seems to be an anthology series where each episode will focus on each individual hero. As for the number of episodes, it could have a max of 10 if each episode is focusing on each character. Nevertheless, this is just speculation and I could be wrong. We will have to find out once the series actually comes out. And from the looks of it, it may take some time since the animation looks amazing with its mix of 2D and Arcana 3D style animation. Plus, the soundtrack is composed by Hiroyuki Sawano, the same one who composed Kill la Kill, Attack on Titan, and Solo Leveling. And any anime series composed by him is going to be good. Anyway, let's move on to the actual list. First is an isekai series called Sayuri Kensuki, or Spirit Chronicles Season 2. The story revolves around Haruto Amakawa, a Japanese college student who died from a train crash, and his memories were resurrected in the body of a boy named Ryu in another world. After facing false accusation, Ryu would become a fugitive and was forced to flee the country. However, Ryu managed to awaken some special power that he can seem to use well and can live a better life, all the while seeking revenge against the person who murdered his mother. And from the looks of it in the latest trailer, he will be meeting his mother's killer, while also meeting up with familiar characters and ones who apparently got isekai from his world, so it might be interesting. Though this series may not be that well known, if you watch the first season, then it should be just as enjoyable to watch, and just one of those feel-good anime series to pass the time. Next up, we got a second season for the 7 Deadly Sins sequel series, Four Knights of the Apocalypse. After Percival and his group finally defeated the 2 former members of the 10 Commandments, they now have to face the main antagonist of the series, King Arthur, who just arrived. The latest trailer would reveal that Percival and his friends will go on another journey to search for Camelot, during which they will face more Chaos Knights, and their journey will lead them to the Demon Realm where they will also meet with Zeltrus. Overall, the animation still looks good, and though it still can't be compared to the first and second season of the 7 Deadly Sins, at least it's not in 3D like those 2 movies we got from Netflix. Plus, if you are still a fan of the 7 Deadly Sins series, then this is something you might enjoy. But I suggest you watch the first season before moving on to this one, if you haven't yet. Next, we got a new anime series called Dadon. In case you don't know what Dadon is, it's pretty much a supernatural series. It features a high school girl, Momo Ayase, who believes in ghosts but not aliens, and her classmate, Ken Takagura, who believes in aliens but not ghosts. After making a bet to see who is correct in their beliefs, they end up in a situation where they each got abducted by aliens and possessed by a ghost. As a result, they both gain some form of supernatural power and use them to fight spirits and aliens, while the overarching plot themes include retrieval of Takagura's, missing manhood, if you will. Personally, I don't know too much about this series, but I heard that it was pretty good, so I gave it a try, and after reading the first chapter, my first thought was, what did I just read? However, like I said, it was just the first chapter, and I'll have to continue reading the rest to find out more of how good it actually is. Plus, based on the latest trailer alone, something tells me it might be one hell of a ride. Moving on, we also got a third season for Aphria from Commonplace to World's Strongest. If you're not already familiar with this series, it's pretty much another isekai genre. The protagonist, Hajime, and his classmates were transported to another world, all for the purpose of saving it. Then, after being seemingly left for dead in a dungeon, he tries to escape on his own, all the while becoming stronger and gathering allies of his own. Once he finally escapes the dungeon, he would then reunite with his classmates, who are apparently the hero party, and then go on a journey to find out the truth about the world. And from what we've seen in the trailer for Season 3, Hajime's next journey will even be more chaotic. So if you enjoy seeing more of the protagonist and his harem tearing up the isekai world and making the so-called hero party look even more weak and useless, then you come to the right place. Next on the line, we got a new season of Blue Exorcist. That's right, a new season of Blue Exorcist came sooner than we thought. Before, we would have to wait 7 years for a new season to arrive and see how the half-demon Rin Akumura become an exorcist while also learning more about his demon heritage. Luckily, this time we didn't have to wait that long, and this season we will get to know more about Shura Kirigakure's past, even discovering more about the Blue Night event. All the while the tension between the Akumura brothers start to escalate. Honestly, I really need to catch up with the manga series, but looking forward to see how this season will play out. Coming in, we got a new season for Blue Lock, titled Blue Lock vs U20 Japan. Just a small rundown, many of Japan's strikers have entered a program called Blue Lock in order to become the best striker and be part of Japan's national soccer team. And in this coming season, the remaining teams will move on to the next stage as they will face off against another team known as Japan U20, a national association team of Japan of players who are under the age of 20 and is controlled by the Japan Football Association. If it's anything like the previous season, this is where the players of Blue Lock will really test their skill set and use whatever they learn to achieve victory and prove their worth. On a personal level, I cannot stand the lesson that this series is giving out. I mean, it's pretty much saying to be the best, you have to be greedy as possible, which I guess there is some truth to it, but the way they are doing it is something I cannot accept. Nevertheless, as someone who does enjoy some bit of sports anime, especially soccer ones, I do love how every match in this series is pretty much an adrenaline rush, so at the very least, it's enjoyable to watch. Next, we got a 5th season of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? That's right, we got another season for this rom-com adventure fantasy series, as we will be seeing more of the rookie adventurer Belle, our favorite goddess Hestia, and other favorite characters. From what we know for this season, Belle is preparing to go on a date with Sairi, and the Freya Familia seem to be helping him. While it may seem like this season is going to be peaceful, as someone who kinda got spoiled from the light novel, it actually gets crazy and has one hell of a plot twist. Additionally, if you enjoy Season 4, then Season 5 is going to be just as great. Of course, we're not done just yet, as we also got another season for VZero. Despite being another isekai series, this ironically happens to be one of the best ones. And after the end of Season 2, it only made fans want more. As such, Season 3 seemed to be delivering just that, as we see Subaru, Emilia, and their allies are now about to face more members of the Witch Cult, making this season more action-packed. Of course, being an anime-only watcher for this particular series, I won't know what will go on in this upcoming arc. Nevertheless, if it's anything like the previous season, it'll likely make us laugh, it'll make us cry, and it'll make us want to stick around to the very end. Let us also hope that this is one season that the main character won't have to die multiple times in order to reach a certain goal. But that is wishful thinking. Next up, we also got a 2nd season of what's basically a video game genre, Sega Frontier. To best describe this series, it's basically SAO, but without the trauma, and the players are not trapped in a game. Instead, the story mainly revolves around characters who are hardcore gamers and are trying to enjoy the open world game known as Shangri-La Frontier. Honestly, I gotta say, Season 1 really caught me by surprise, since I really didn't thought that this series was going to be this good. The animation is fluid, the fight scenes are spectacular, and the series really does seem to resonate just about anyone who enjoys playing video games. And, just from the trailer alone, it looks like the main cast will continue exploring more of the game world as they discover new locations, acquiring new items, and facing off another boss level monster that is almost impossible to beat. Overall, this is just one of those hidden gem series that you want to watch and experience yourself. Speaking of a series where the genre mainly revolves around a game world, we got another season of the spin-off series Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online. Even though SAO itself has somewhat of a bad rap among anime fans, you got to admit, the first half of SAO Season 2 was pretty good. And if you enjoy that season, along with the spin-off series' first season, which came out in 2018, the second season will likely be even more enjoyable to watch. And from the looks of it, this season will be going through another tournament arc style as we see all 4 of the main cast team up in the latest gun shooting competition. Honestly, my heart is pumping with full of anticipation. Moving on to the next list, we got a second season of the remake series Rurouni Kenshin. While the original Rurouni Kenshin anime series will always have a place in every fan's heart, this remake turns out to be surprisingly good. What's more, it only gets better as the animation seems to have improved for season 2, which makes sense especially since this season is moving on to the Kyoto arc, which is the best arc of the entire series. After all, while we see the main protagonist going through every obstacle to keep the peace in Japan, this season finally introduced the series' best antagonist, Shushiro Mikoto, and his elite warriors. And though this is very unlikely, let us see if this remake of the arc can be just as good as the original. Coming in second to last, we have Dragon Ball Daima. While many fans, such as I, do wish that the Dragon Ball Super anime will return, at least we are able to get any new Dragon Ball related content. And in the case for this one might actually turn out to be one of the best Dragon Ball installment series ever, as we see Kid Goku going on a journey with Kid Supreme Kai and 2 new companions, the main antagonists look interesting enough, and we have Kid Goku turning to a Super Saiyan and using the Power Pole. Furthermore, considering how this will be the last Dragon Ball related work that Akira Toriyama will have any involvement with due to his sudden passing, this series will not only get a lot of fans excited, but also very emotional as it both celebrates the series' 40th anniversary and likely honor Toriyama's contribution to the work of Dragon Ball over the years. So yeah, this is definitely something to look forward to, especially since both the series and the game Sparking Zero are coming on the same day. Finally, the anime that I think people should be excited for, Bleach ThousandYear Blood War Part 3. After waiting an entire year since Part 2 ended, Part 3 will finally arrive next month. The animation looks just as good as ever, and apparently, unlike Part 2, there were no production issues for Part 3. Personally, I have no issues with Part 2, and I thought it looks just as great. However, it is exciting that the animation will get better. Moreover, not only will Part 3 continue where last season left off, but as stated, Part 3 will have more extensions and additional scenes that never appeared from the source material. That means we will be getting more lores and more content of Bleach than ever before. Not gonna lie, it really is a great time to be a Bleach fan, especially since the series seems to have risen back into popularity as it continues to make a comeback. Plus, it gives me hope that the anime will fix all the stuff that happened from the manga. Well, that's pretty much it within this list. Hope you enjoyed it. If there's any other anime series coming this fall that is deserving of attention, just leave a comment down below. And if you want to hear more content related to anime, manga, and other types of media, just hit the like and subscribe button.